August 16th, 1977. Memphis. A man is lying stretched out on the bathroom floor. The whole world knows him. There's no other solo artist in history who's sold as many records as him. He's just different from other celebrities. The whole world is a fan of his. And when he died, he had $5 million in the bank. Now think about it. This man was one of the highest earning celebrities. Over his lifetime, he made hundreds of millions of dollars. In today's money, he made $700,000 from a single night's concert. He made $250,000 from a single album deal. But when he died, where all that money went became a mystery. An artist who earned this much, and when he died, his bank account only had as much as an ordinary rich person's money. So where did all that money go? In this video, we're going to find the answer to that question, and you'll see the name you hear at the end of the story is going to shock you a lot. Because the person who made Elvis this rich and the person who left him broke is the same person. The story starts with a truck driver. Year 1953, Memphis. An 18-year-old poor kid with nothing but a guitar. He goes to Sun Records. Nobody takes him seriously. But the kid Sam Phillips, the studio owner, was looking for, that's exactly him. They make a recording and everything changes. That's all right. The moment it hits the radio, the phones don't stop ringing. Listeners start wondering who this voice belongs to. Nobody can tell if this kid is white or black, and right here, this uncertainty is exactly what gets him noticed. In a short time, this young man becomes the most well-known name in Memphis. Within 2 years, everyone in the country starts knowing and loving him. But there's a problem here. Elvis's music is great. Elvis's decisions aren't. The problem is a man at the edge of the stage starts walking toward him. Someone with a hat, a cigarette in his mouth, and a different kind of smile. When you look at him, his appearance gives off trust. Okay, his name is Colonel Tom Parker. But you'll soon find out that this man is neither a colonel, nor is his name actually Parker. Parker is actually a man who entered the U.S. illegally from the Netherlands. There's also a problem in his past related to his mental health. And here he's basically built himself a new identity and a new life. When he meets Elvis and looks at him, all he sees is stacks and stacks of dollars. Normally, a manager takes around 10 to 15% from the deals an artist makes, but this man wants 50%, half, and Elvis signs. Why? Because for a young man who's never known anything but poverty up to this point, this man seems like a savior. Parker promises him, everyone in America is going to hear you, know you, you're going to be a star. And he really does it. In 1956, Elvis experiences a miracle. In just a few months, $22 million worth of albums are sold. Over $266 million in today's money. But out of all the money we've talked about so far, half of it disappears somewhere. And this is just the beginning. Elvis is 22 years old and he just makes a decision. He buys Graceland. $102,500, a huge amount of money for that time, about $1 million in today's money. But Graceland isn't just a house. It was a symbol. It was a way for a kid who came from poverty to declare his kingdom. But here's the problem. To live like a king, you need to earn like a king. And Elvis never knew how to hold on to money. He had no idea where his money was or how much he had. According to those close to him, Elvis didn't know what to do with money, he just spent it. He bought cars. Sometimes he'd gift a Cadillac to a stranger passing by on the street just because they smiled at him. He was generous to his family, his friends, even strangers he ran into in hospital hallways. There was a big crew that never left his side, following him around everywhere like a tail, the so-called Memphis Mafia, and he covered whatever needs they had. Looking at it from the outside, you'd say, what a generous man, right? And he was. But at the same time, it was a leak that never stopped. And you might be thinking, okay, he spent a lot, but hundreds of millions were probably coming in from the other side too, right? Yes, and that's exactly where the real problem lies. By 1967, Parker's commission was already more than 50%. In some special deals, he managed to push his share up to as much as 25% more. But the real blow comes in 1973. Elvis needs cash. Parker brings him an offer: sell the entire song catalog, meaning the rights to more than 1,000 of his songs. Elvis agrees. In exchange for this sale, he gets $5.4 million, around $41 million in today's money. Doesn't sound bad, right? But think about it. Those songs would have kept earning money forever, nonstop. Elvis traded away his future for a one-time check. And out of that money, too, Parker took a huge commission. Now stop for a second and imagine this. The songs of the most recognized best-selling artist in the world no longer belong to him. So was Elvis aware of this? Partly. But there was no one around him to say, hey, this is wrong, stop. Because Parker wasn't just his manager, he was the person controlling every decision in his life. Elvis's career is declining. His movies aren't drawing crowds like before, and it seems like the new generation on the radio is leaving him behind. Parker finds a solution: Las Vegas. He puts Elvis on stage at the International Hotel, and for him, this is basically like being reborn. The halls are packed, people are crying, fainting, running toward the stage. Elvis is king again. But this victory comes with a price. Parker ties Elvis into Vegas contracts that last for years. Hundreds of nights on stage a year. The same costume, the same sweat, the same lights every single night. Elvis gets exhausted, his body can't take it, and eventually he starts using drugs. Meanwhile, Parker is gambling and has gambling debts. To the Vegas casinos, serious amounts. According to some biographers, the reason Parker kept Elvis in Vegas might have been his own gambling addiction. He may have made private deals to pay off his own debts. Of course, this is hard to prove, but one thing is certain: Elvis got sick in Vegas, but Parker's pockets kept filling up with money, and they kept on filling. By 1977, here's the picture. Elvis is 42 years old, tired, sick, alone. A man who signed deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars throughout his life was now struggling with money. Graceland's monthly expenses were a huge number. His crew's salaries, medication costs, spending habits. It was all piling up on top of each other. On the morning of August 16th, he's found dead in Graceland's bathroom. What he left behind: $5 million. The result of a lifetime of hard work doesn't even amount to the annual revenue of a few years of a mid-sized business. And right here, the real mystery begins. Because Elvis's money, instead of shrinking after his death, starts growing. In Elvis's will, everything goes to his daughter Lisa Marie, but Lisa Marie is still young, only 9 years old. Management of the estate is handed over to his father, Vernon, but Vernon dies just 2 years after Elvis. And at this point, someone new steps in: Priscilla Presley, Elvis's ex-wife, someone nobody expected. Priscilla has two options: not sell Graceland, which means a $500,000 a year expense, and the family fortune erodes fast, or do something different: open the house to the public, which is a pretty risky move. In 1982, she makes her decision. She opens Graceland's doors to tourists, and this decision changes everything. Today, Graceland is one of the most visited homes in America. It comes second only after the White House. It brings in more than $10 million a year. During the years Priscilla ran Elvis Presley Enterprises, she turned the estate from a value of $1 million into a brand worth more than $100 million. And today, Elvis Presley's estate, meaning his name, his image, his music, Graceland, has reached a value of over $500 million. Now stop for a second and think about this. Elvis, throughout his life, never learned how to hold on to the money he earned. His manager, his contracts, his spending, Vegas, all of it made him poorer. The king never truly got to enjoy the pleasures of his own kingdom. But 5 years after his death, one very risky decision, opening the house to tourists, turned him into one of the richest dead celebrities in history. So the real question is, did Elvis really die poor, or did someone else achieve being rich for him after his death? The answer is maybe both. The king lost his kingdom on stage, but his legacy was crowned again backstage, and maybe that's the strangest success story of Elvis Presley's life. He reached, after death, the wealth he could never reach while he was alive. Today, every tourist walking through Graceland's doors is, without realizing it, keeping alive a legacy that once stood on the edge of bankruptcy. And you might still be asking, what about Parker? What happened to him after Elvis's death? The answer is simple. The estate sued him. After years of legal battles, Parker lost all ties to the estate. Today, his name is remembered only as a cautionary tale. Never trust, never say yes to a contract you haven't read before signing. The king's crown, in the end, returned to its rightful owner,